Hi, welcome to Film Music Mentor. Today's topic, horror films. So we're really close to Halloween. It's the end of October. Thought it'd be great to do a little episode about horror movies. Horror movies are a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful genre filled with subgenres. You've got your slasher film, your hostage film, your creature feature, your supernatural, gothic. There's too many subgenres for me to even remember, and more than I even know. But horror movie fans, they're dedicated fans. They love it. They embrace it, and it's important that you score it right because with any movie, a bad score can ruin a film, and a good score can enhance it. Here's a few points of advice for working on a horror movie. So, the first thing you want to remember is that the further away your film is from reality, the more you need the music to bring us in and connect us with this new world of whatever the film is about. So, a supernatural thriller, a creature feature, these are less steeped in reality than, say, a hostage situation, although a hostage situation can be very unrealistic. But we want to bring you into the world, make you feel like you're part of this world. So we want to feel like we're in the film, we're part of it, not just watching something on a screen. We want to be immersed in it. And the music creates immersion for the audience. Okay. Second thing, we want to use music to manipulate the expectations of the audience. Play with their expectations. Let's say danger's coming, but you want them to feel safe. Let the music help guide that. If you want them to feel danger, but there isn't, help them guide that. If you want, say exactly what's going on, use music to do that. Just don't arbitrarily put the music in. Have a reason, have a game plan. Remember, the horror is partly about figuring out what's going on, how things um, are going to play out, and the music is sort of a map to that. And we're probably not thinking too much about it as an audience member, but it does help. It does connect us. It grounds us. It makes us feel like we're part of it, and it gives us clues. So play with the expectations of the audience, however you wish, and whatever that means to you. Use music for branding. Brand your film. Have some sound, some tune, something that's unlike anything else, so that should your horror film go on to subsequent chapters, to become a franchise, there's something that's audible, that's connected only to your film. So they hear that, they remember your film. And if it becomes a big hit, people will make fun of it for generations to come. Horror music is filled with film music conventions. There's the old theremin, creepy sounding, one of the first synthesizers. The you've heard that in a million things. It's an old technique, and we use it to make fun. So there's so many genres of film music for horror that it's good to know them and to use them, or to consciously use them, or abandon them, or make fun of them, or pay tribute to them. So it's really important to understand, and this isn't just with horror, but especially with horror, it's important to understand the genre you're in and the history of film music for that genre. Horror films are a great way to have musical creativity. You can blend genres, you can abandon musical conventions from the past, you can use them, you can make fun of them, you can combine all kinds of things and create a unique sound. I've found that in the horror movies that I've done, that I've enjoyed scoring them very, very much. There was a film I did many, many years ago called Speed Demons, where it was a story about a vampire biker gang and a young woman who had to. She was sort of the chosen one to kill them off. But in that particular film, I used a combination of orchestral, sort of traditional horror music, creepy horror music, and progressive rock. So there's this rock sound, this classical sound, these odd musical meters. It was a very fun score, and the music from that film got used in many other shows afterwards because it was so unique and appealing, because the inspiration to create something creative and the opportunity to create something creative came up, and I took advantage of that. I recently did a movie called Another Soul, which is right at this moment on demand on most cable networks. And that is a possession tale. It's a tale, so it's a supernatural thriller feature. And in that film, I used an orchestral palette. The director had showed me a sample of what they were looking for the score and what they used as temp music, and I was able to take a lot of those elements and create a whole score and a whole world. And in this particular movie, there's this element of supernatural that's showing up in various ways, physically possessing certain characters in the movie, transforming into a satanic beast. So there was a lot of supernatural, and keeping the real world and the supernatural world together was a big job of the music. And that particular movie, although only about 80 or 85 minutes, it has about 95% score, and that works in that instance. And in terms of the musical genre, well, I think I've heard just about everything in a film music in some way. I mean, something like The Omen has this gothic, classical, choral, very, very frightening music. Jaws is a great example of a horror movie score that really brands the film, and that is used um, now really to make fun of things, and I'm guilty of doing it several times myself. There's Michael Oldfield's Tubular Bells for The Exorcist. There's so many examples, and they're all different. Some directors like Rob Zombie, John Carpenter, and Robert Rodriguez, off the top of my head, these are folks that scored their own films, but they're a very unique bunch. Unless you're really, really skilled at that, I wouldn't recommend it, but those guys are tremendous. And John Carpenter really has a signature sound. I mean, he really has his own musical voice that complements his cinematic voice quite beautifully. Just to go over the four things again. First, we want the audience to feel like they're part of the world. The further you are from reality, the more the music has to draw in the audience so that they feel like they're part of it and not merely watching something. Two, we want to manage the expectations of the audience, play with it, have fun with it, or do nothing, but just be very conscious of this element. Three, we want to brand our film for the purpose of, hopefully sequels and a franchise. And lastly, we want to be aware of musical conventions in the past so that we can either ignore them, adapt them, or use them directly. This is Film Music Mentor. I'll see you next time.